We've spent the last 2 months putting all of the players on defense into respective buckets. But now that we know who we think the cream of the crop is, how do they shake out at the top? We're ranking the top 10 at each defensive position here today on Locked On NFL Scout.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much.
Joe?
Kyle?
We're doing the thing. And we always like to talk about, do you want to do the thing? Well, yes, we're doing the thing. And this is, the fourth year that Jeremy Fowler from ESPN has polled players, coaches, executives, and scouts across the NFL and asked them for their top players at each respective position. And he's finished with the defensive side of the ball. Today, they dropped tight end rankings. So we, in the spirit of that, and after just going through all 32 rosters and studying the players ourselves and deciding who is the cream of the crop, who are the roster cornerstones, who are the quality starters, we know what the top tier looks like. And we already did this for quarterbacks because of a grading quirk for how we grade these rosters for positional value. So we said, hey, why don't we do the thing and put together our personal lists of the top 10 players at each defensive position and go through it here today on the show.
It's going to be awesome, Kyle. I polled myself.
I also polled myself.
Yeah.
Now, the final rankings will be consensus. That is, it's you and me. We each have our ballot of top 10. We have not conversed about what they look like. But the objective is to dump our lists and then go from there and talk about the discrepancies between your list and my list. While we came to consensus on who the cornerstone players are, the order in which we're ranking them is currently a mystery to both of us.
Shall we?
Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up.
Wow, visual aid here for the YouTube audience.
You're welcome. All right. What can I say except
yeah.
Except you're welcome.
Come on, right. Maui.
So, Joseph, your first ranked edge defender
Sorry.
in the NFL is who? I need your list 1 through 10.
I'm just going to give it to you 1 through 10 right now.
Yes.
Number 1, Nick Bosa, edge, 49ers. Number 2, Myles Garrett, Cleveland Browns. Number 3, TJ Watt, Steelers. I was going to say what TJ stood for, and then I realized I have no idea what it stands for.
Smart.
Number 4, Max Crosby, Raiders. Number 5, Micah Parsons from the Cowboys. Number 6, Hassan Reddick from the Eagles. Number 7, Joey Bosa from the Chargers. Number 8, Von Miller, get healthy soon, please. Number 9, Brian Burns. And number 10, had to put my guy Cameron Jordan on the list.
Okay. So everybody who is not in the top 10 receives an 11, a non-vote.
Oh,
we had a total of 15 edges that got cornerstone. So 1/3 of the cornerstone edge players in the NFL are going to get left off the top 10.
And they will all be disrespected and mad at us for sure.
But even though we said you are a top tier player and you could, I won't say that you can put these in any order and I won't argue with you, but you could largely put the vast majority of these players in any order. And there's an argument to be had, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think that's
fair. I'm not saying we should rank Rashawn Gary over Myles Garrett. Like that's the extreme example here. But I think it's a tier. There's a mini tier at the top, and then everything else is largely interchangeable. So my non-vote players were Rashawn Gary, Josh Allen, Jacksonville Jaguars version, Daniil Hunter, Khalil Mack, Thus far, our 4 non-votes overlap with one another, Joe. My
So
last
you have one
non-vote,
more. Who's it going to be?
Cam Jordan.
Hater.
I have Jalen Phillips at 10, Joey Bosa at 9, Von Miller at 8, as does Joe Marino. I have Brian Burns at 7. I have Hassan Reddick at 6. So our 5 are the same.
Our
Our
top
top 5
5.
are it's just the order in which they happen.
Okay.
I have Max Crosby at 5. I have TJ Watt at 4. I have Nick Bosa at 3, Myles Garrett at 2, and Micah Parsons at 1.
Woo! Your number 1 is my number 5. This is incredible to start. This is great.
This is why we do this, for the content, just off of this. So I'm going to sort it like this. So Garrett and Bosa are tied for the fewest points collected. Bosa has a first place vote, so I think you could probably make the argument that Bosa, with the first place vote, lands the first spot. Bosa, Garrett, Parsons, Watt, Crosby, consensus top 5, just different order. Hassan Reddick at 6, consensus for both of us was 6. Von Miller, 7. Brian Burns, 8. Joey Bosa, 9. And then Cam Jordan and Jalen Phillips were tied for 10th.
Are you mad at me? You must. Your number 1 player was my number 5 player. I'm sure you have questions about that.
I was very surprised to see that Micah Parsons was that far down on your list. Yes.
He's awesome, right? I mean, he's super versatile. I think maybe the versatility hurt him a little bit for me when I stacked him, but I think he's incredible. Like, I don't take exception with where you put him, to be honest with you.
It's like I'm not mad by any means. He's been defensive runner-up for defensive player of the year in each of his first 2 seasons. He's got 13 and 13.5 sacks. He's played in every game. He's a ball magnet. He's got 3 forced fumbles in each of the last of his first 2 seasons. He's a complete defender. He had 20 tackles for losses rookie season. First team All-Pro both those years. So, like, the resume, and it's like, this dude's only going to continue to get better as a year 2 player. I think the sales pitch against Micah Parsons being higher up on this list is because he is versatile. He's a little unorthodox, and his build is a little unorthodox versus the Myles Garrett's and Nick Bosa's of the world, right? But it's a fascinating group, and we clearly think there is a top 6. We think there's a top 3 in Bosa, Garrett, Parsons with our consensus rankings, and then Watt, Crosby, Reddick. And then the rest is a wild, wild west.
We've got a bunch of fun position groups to get into. This is just setting the table for what's to come the rest of the way. But before we get there, our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Football host Vinny Iyer to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're prepping for a draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. So with draft prep underway for the upcoming season, let's see who Vinny has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. When making the first overall pick in fantasy football drafts in 2023, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey is a guaranteed fit. A healthy McCaffrey is guaranteed to see well more than 300 touches again in his first full season in San Francisco and is the centerpiece of the 49ers offensive engine. McCaffrey checks all the boxes, including his talent and usage, high floor and ceiling. So run with CMC as the guaranteed fit at number 1 for a smooth ride to another year of big numbers. With eBay Guaranteed Fit and over 122 million parts and accessories for your vehicle right at your fingertips, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Air filters, brakes, batteries, taillights, alternators, shocks, struts, you name it, eBay Motors has it. And they'll make sure it's the right fit for your car because eBay Guaranteed Fit helps you understand exactly what part you need for your vehicle the first time. So go forth, switch gears, crank the AC, and say goodbye to sweating if your car needs a little fixing up. Because right now, you know you'll always be set up for success from the get-go. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, everything your vehicle is calling for is just a click away. For the parts and accessories that fit your vehicle, just look for the green check. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices at ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Draft Dudes Nation, let's ride.
Let's ride, baby.
Okay. So anyway, now that I got my Russell Wilson, I've been sitting on that ever since we first saw the copy and was like, oh, we got to do a let's ride.
Yeah. You kind of did yesterday, and then you really built on it today.
I'm committed.
Excited for tomorrow already. You know,
committed to the bit.
What happens there?
So anyway, defensive tackles. We had 13. I'll read the 13 cornerstone players. Not every spot has 10 plus cornerstones. So for some of these, we're going to get some quality starters to crack the top 10. Quinnen Williams, New York Jets, Aaron Donald, Los Angeles Rams, Jeffrey Simmons, Tennessee Titans, Chris Jones, Kansas City Chiefs, Cameron Hayward, Pittsburgh Steelers, Javon Hargrave, San Francisco 49ers, Kenny Clark, Green Bay Packers, Christian Wilkins, Miami Dolphins, DJ Reader, Cincinnati Bengals, Dexter Lawrence, New York Giants, Vita Vea, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, DeForest Buckner, Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Allen, Washington Commanders are our 13 cornerstone players at the defensive tackle position. Joe Marino.
Are you ready for my top 10?
Yes, I am ready for your top 10 as soon as my OCD resets the columns and their widths. Yes, I'm ready.
Coming in at number 1, Aaron Donald, Rams. Number 2, Chris Jones, Chiefs. Number 3, Cameron Hayward, Steelers.
Ooh,
I love him, man. I love him.
It's hot.
It's not hot. Watch the career is the career.
Why is it spicy?
Number 4 is Quinnen Williams from the Jets. By the way, the NFL is forcing the Jets down our throats, huh?
Yeah, Warren Sharp was on that.
Yeah, he nailed that. He nailed that bit. Nailed it. Hope they start 0-1. Number 5? Number 5, I have Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans.
Okay.
Number 6, Dexter Lawrence from the Giants. My goodness, what a month.
Spicy.
Is it spicy? I don't know. Watch him play last year. He was pretty good. Number 7, Javon Hargrave, 49ers. Number 8,
ice cold.
DJ Reader, Bengals. Number 9, John Allen, Washington Commanders. Number 10, DeForest Buckner from the Colts.
Which means Vita Vea, Kenny Clark, and Christian Wilkins were also Rams and non-votes for you. Joe, I will not do the climactic thing, and I'm going to drop one on you right off the top. Chris Jones is number 1, and Aaron Donald is number 2.
If you want to point to last year, I'm not going to argue with that.
Okay, yeah, and we can have that conversation after I run through the rest of my list, which has Quinnen Williams at number 3, Cam Hayward at number 4, Jeffrey Simmons at number 5. So once again, our 1 through 5 are the same players, just in different order and not as extreme as last time, although we do not have the number 1 player in either of the 2 defensive line spots. Number 6 for me is Javon Hargrave. Number 7 for me is DJ Reader. Give me these monster nose tackles, please, and thank you. Speaking of monster nose tackles, Dexter Lawrence is number 8 for me. I have Christian Wilkins at 9 and then Vita Vea at 10, which means
no John Allen.
My also participants don't act like me not having your 9th ranked player at 11 is disrespectful.
Wow,
please and
the pass rush ability of John Allen.
Great. Aaron Donald, Chris Jones tied for 1st. Quinnen Williams, Cam Hayward tied for 3rd. Jeffrey Simmons in sole possession of 5th place. Those were our consensus 1 through 5s on both our lists in different order. Then you had Javon Hargrave at 6, Dexter Lawrence at 7, DJ Reader at 8, and then Wilkins and Allen tied for 9th, which means Vita Vea, DeForest Buckner, and Kenny Clark were cornerstone players who did not crack the top 10 on the consensus rankings.
Imagine. Wow.
Any other big picture thoughts on this group?
These Cam Hayward, I'll throw Dexter Lawrence, Javon Hargrave, DJ Reader, like these nose tackles that can rush. My goodness, man.
Right.
I love them.
Absolute like freaks of nature. They're complete skill set players because they do have that pass rush productivity to their name, but then they also have just crazy run stuffing ability and changing the numbers in the box.
This isn't Ted Washington and Vince Wilfork, folks. This ain't your daddy's nose tackles from back in the day.
Right.
These guys are different.
So now we're going to go to a group of players that are kind of the B level and box fit type of players. Stack off-ball linebackers and nickels are our next two spots, Joe. So we'll start with stack linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
We had a grand total of 8 cornerstone players at the linebacker position. They were Tremaine Edmonds, Fred Warner. These are in no particular order. Tremaine Edmonds, Fred Warner, Shaquille Leonard, Roquan Smith, Matt Milano, Levante David, Demario Davis, and Bobby Wagner. And then we had to tap into the quality starters. We had another 12 quality starters. So this eligible player pool is technically 20 players deep with Nick Bolton, Logan Wilson, Leighton Vander Esch, Foye Olukun, Eric Kendricks, Devondre Campbell, David Long, CJ Mosley, Dre Greenlaw, TJ Edwards, Pete Werner, and Jermaine Pratt. Bengals fans rejoice. The long-standing feud with me and Joe over Jermaine Pratt has been settled.
Hey, did you see I got arrested on Twitter? The pronunciation police came after me. Did they tag you in that?
No.
It's my no, and I appreciate it because they started their tweet with "Sorry to be the pronunciation police." Like, okay,
so they're
at least you acknowledged it.
They're on the neighborhood watch. They're not in the.
It was my pronunciation of Romeo Dobbs. It's Dobbs, Kyle, not Dubs.
Dude, no, we've gone back and forth. It was Dobbs, and then at the Senior Bowl, it was Dubs, and people yelled at us for it then, and now it's back to Dobbs. This is
a little
Kelsey,
double jeopardy.
This is
Have
Kelsey
I been arrested twice
Kels.
for the same crime?
This is Kelsey versus Kels. I'm not getting into it.
Oh, he also took. And I said Kingsley. We're talking about Kingsley and Igbari, and I said Kingsley Jonathan, which is just a Bills slip because Kingsley Jonathan's for the Bills, and I mean I don't know that many people named Kingsley, right?
Shame on you.
I said Jonathan instead of hitting Barbie. My guy had a double.
It had a lot of axes to grind with you. Huh?
Yeah, no, but he said pronunciation police, so you get credit for that.
Shame.
Right. Hey, did you see that? No, do you watch Ted Lasso? Do you?
No, but I know the lady's the same lady.
I didn't realize that until somebody put that on the internet.
Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah.
No clue. All right. People would care much more about our stack linebacker rankings.
Stack linebacker rankings.
Here they are. I feel like this is.
Whoa.
Whoa.
What if I were to go first?
I go first then.
Okay. Fred Warner is 1. It is the only correct answer, so please don't put us in a position.
We'll see. We'll see.
Roquan Smith is 2. Demario Davis is 3. Shaquille Leonard, injuries be hecked, is 4. Levante David is 5. Matt Milano is 6. Tremaine Edmonds is 7. Bobby Wagner is the last cornerstone player that I have to rank, which makes him 8. And then I have 2 out of the 12 quality starters.
To see this. Who are the 2?
Olukun at 9. The production has been off the charts good. He's a staple of that defense. And then Dre Greenlaw is 10, which means Pratt, Werner, Edwards, Mosley, David Long, Devondre Campbell, Eric Kendricks, who it hurt to leave me off the list, but he did not play particularly well in that scheme last year. And I understand it was a Donatel thing and all that. So we'll see what happens this year. Leighton Vander Esch, Logan Wilson, and Nick Bolton were my also participants who did not crack the rankings for me.
Okay. Kyle, mine's a little different than yours.
Oh, Lord.
But
not at number 1.
Not
yes.
Number 1. It's
okay.
Fred Warner's at number 1.
Yes.
And then I thought it was a little spicy by having this next guy at 2, but you had him at 3. So, let's go. Demario Davis. I love him.
Stud.
Number 2.
Absolute stud.
Levante David, I put at 3.
David at 3.
No idea how the Bucs got him back for that deal. Just no clue. Number 4 is Roquan Smith. Number 5 is Shaquille Leonard. I think he'd obviously be a lot higher if he was healthy, had more health of late.
Right.
Number 6, I have Matthew Milano.
I was curious to see what order you were going to put the Bill and the former Bill, because I know that's a big
Yeah. Well, 7 is Tremaine Edmonds. This is what I'll say about Milano and Edmonds. They played together for 5 seasons. For the first 4 of them, I thought Milano was definitely the better player. Last year, I think Edmonds was the better player, but the sample size goes to Milano.
Bobby Wagner at 8.
Wagner at 8. And
Okay.
then now this is the intriguing part is which 2 do I pull up? And they're not the 2 that you pulled up, although the hardest one for me to leave off was Olakun. So there's his flowers. But
He's not on.
He's not on. He didn't make it. Do you have any do you have predictions as to who my 2 guys are going to be?
I think Jermaine Pratt's on your list.
It's not.
Wow. Bengals fans, come for this man. Come for this man. Is Nick Bolton on your list?
Yes, he's number 9.
Number 9. And then if I were to guess off the remaining player pool, Logan Wilson?
Bengals fans were back. I got Logan Wilson at number 10.
Wilson's good, man. It's crazy that he might be the better of the 2 backers, but I would agree. I would be inclined to agree with you. I would rank Logan Wilson in front of Jermaine Pratt, which means our consensus 10. We have Fred Warner at 1, consensus. Demario Davis 2, Roquan Smith 3, Levante David 4, Shaquille Leonard 5, Matt Milano 6, Tremaine Edmonds 7, Bobby Wagner 8. So we were consensus on, once again, the top 5, just in different order, and obviously through 8 because there were only 8 cornerstones. And then 9 and 10 are Nick Bolton and Foye Olakun, who each received a 9th place vote from you and me, respectively.
All right. Well, in the final segment, we got a lot to get to. Cornerbacks, nickels, safety, all coming your way after a very, very quick break.
Okay. So we're going to nickels next.
Yeah.
And we are going to work as efficiently as we possibly can.
Yeah.
I know that is... we'll see how we do. We're going to try to work quickly and efficiently. Yeah. Now, the good news is we both know who the number 1 player on the nickel group is going to be.
Yeah, there's
right.
No choice.
We had 1 cornerstone player in the nickels, and it is our favorite non-priority position player in the league. Is that fair to say?
Our consensus non-priority position player in the league, our favorite draft dudes, Mike Hilton, come be a guest.
Mike Hilton. So with that plug out of the way, we'll go ahead and we'll throw Mike Hilton in here with a 1 for each of us.
Yep.
Now, he was the only cornerstone, so the rest of the nickels are quality starters. But we didn't have 9 quality starters at our disposal. We had 8, which means we had to go to players who were incomplete evaluations, but if we had to put them in a bucket right now, they would be quality starters. So we had 3 for 1 spot. The 8 quality starters are Teron Johnson, Kenny Moore, Jonathan Jones, Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Oliver, Greg Newsome, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and Byron Murphy. The 3 incomplete evaluations who are leaning into quality starter buckets are Nate Hobbs, Kader Kohu, and Deron Bland. Joe, I would like to go first on this one as well. And then
first
you can choose.
I have to arrest you for a pronunciation error that you made.
Okay.
It's Taron Johnson.
Taron Johnson. You can choose between corners and safeties which one you would like to go first on, but we'll alternate here. So just because Taron Johnson, you got me with the pronunciation police, I'll put him at 7. And we'll have Kenny Moore at 2. We'll have Greg Newsome at 3. I actually have Taron Johnson at 4. I have John Jones from the Patriots at 5. New England, welcome to the party today. I have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at 6. I have Jeremy Chin at 7. I have Isaiah Oliver at 8. I have Byron Murphy at 9. And my 10, of course, I'm going to put the homer hat on. It's Kader Kohu for me.
All right.
My 10th place vote.
All right.
Were you upset about Taron Johnson being put 7 at first.
No, it's your personal list of players, and I have my response to whenever somebody's like upset with my list of something. I was like, okay, well, what's your list? Like, okay,
Go
do
ahead and
your
show
own
me your
list. Do your own list. I did my own list. So.
That's like from a team building perspective. You can't be mad at moves unless you have a definitive alternative pathway that's a realistic thing, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to get mad at me for my list, if you have a list, you have a right to debate me. But if you don't, then go make a list, and we'll talk about it.
Make your list, right? So
Go
I
ahead.
made my list. Here it is. Oh, okay, we already know Mike Hilton is 1. I have Kenny Morris at number 2 as well. I have Taron Johnson at 3.
Okay.
At number 4, John Jones. Welcome, New England Patriots. If you're a nickel, you're really good at that. Don't ask him to face X receivers on the outside one-on-one.
Right.
It's not going to be as good for him. Number 5, I have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Number 6, I have Byron Murphy, who does not play for the Cardinals anymore, right?
That's he's in Minnesota.
Right. That's still one that's I gotta remember.
And some of these guys might be like Jones and Murphy might be playing outside when it's all said and done this year.
Right.
Which is a bummer, but like we're putting them into the bucket where their resume has been really, really good.
7, I have Jeremy Chin, the Saluki of Southern Illinois.
Doing with Greg Newsome right now?
Just stay tuned. He's coming up right now at number 8. Number 9, I have Isaiah Oliver, who we think is going to be an absolute gem this year for San Francisco.
He's going to be a steal for them. But
any guesses on who I'm pulling out of the pen?
Nate Hobbs.
No.
Ron Bland.
No.
Oh, okay. A little consensus Cater Kohu getting some love here.
That just mostly just wanted you to say his name, so I didn't get arrested for my for your nickel after I arrested you for mine. So,
okay, so our consensus nickel rankings: Mike Hilton, Bengals first; Kenny Moore, consensus 2; Taron Johnson 3; Jonathan Jones 4; Greg Newsome and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson are tied for 5th. Jeremy Chin is in 7th. Byron Murphy is in 8th. Isaiah Oliver is 9th. Cater Kohu 10th. What's messed up is Kohu, like between Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Cater Kohu, Nick Needham, Cam Smith, like Cater's another player who might not end up playing as much in the nickel where I think he's best suited, but I do suspect he'll be in their top 3 corners quite persistently.
They can play the matchups. They got a lot of different skill sets there. So,
speaking of corners and matchups, which one do you want to lead first on?
Corner, just because it's the next one.
You just want to be done with your responsibilities.
Well, I think safeties is going to be harder because we have to leave off 3 cornerstones to get there.
Right, and we had, 9 cornerstone corners, period. And then we had another million quality starters.
You pull up 1.
We had 19 quality starters for a total of 28 eligible players, and you got 19 to pick one guy to put in 10th place on your list. So with that explanation out of the way, I will, for those of you who are consuming on the YouTube channel, you can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. I will pull up our visual aid, and Joe, you can start ripping off your top 10 corners in the NFL.
All right, here we go. Number 1, I have Jair Alexander from the Packers.
Oh, spicy.
Number 2, I have Patrick Surtain, the second from the Broncos.
Okay.
Number 3, Marlon Humphrey, Ravens. Number 4 is Marshawn Lattimore, Saints. Number 5, Trayvon Diggs, Cowboys. Number 6, Darius Slay, Eagles. Number 7, Jalen Ramsey, Dolphins. 8, Denzel Ward, Browns. 9, Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner at 9. Joe, they're going to...
He's played 1 season.
They're going to go hog wild on you.
If you've looked at my rankings, if you played 1 season, you're not an instant.
Is that why you hate Micah Parsons as well? He's only played 2 seasons.
That certainly played into it. Honestly, it did. At number 10, who am I pulling up out of the pen? It's L'Jarius Sneed. A lot of respect for his game, what he's meant for that defense, and
good football
the
player.
assignments he's taken on. Yeah, and I it's hard, man. Like, I thought a lot about pulling up AJ Terrell. That was hard, really hard for me to not pull him up. And the other guy that was really difficult was
JC Horn.
No, He's not. He's got to be available more. No, I think it was
Tyson
between
Campbell?
a little bit, but longevity. It was between Terrell and Snead is who I really got it down to for the last two.
Okay. Well, obviously we have the same 9. I'll start with my 10 just for fun. And my 10 is Asante Samuel.
Okay.
A really, really good player. For me, it was Terrell, J.C. Horn, and Asante Samuel, who ironically enough are listed in succession for who I was in consideration to pull up into the 10th spot, aka the 1 spot out of these 19 quality starters. So I think Asante Samuel, the quick twitch ability, the foot speed, the physicality that he brings
Ball
in spite of his
skills.
size, the ball skills, like he
Like
just
3 interceptions against Jacksonville in the playoff game.
and the ascending skill set there for me was enough to put Asante Samuel in the 10th spot. Now, number 9 for me, Joe, things are going to get a little weird here, is Trayvon Diggs, who you had at 5.
I don't hate that. I
little
hated
bit more
having
of
him at 5.
a little bit more of an up and down. Like
Right.
he's still a little bit of feast or famine, right?
He's absolutely feast or famine. Yes.
I had Marshawn Lattimore, who you had at 4 at 8.
Okay.
I had Denzel Ward at 7. I had Darius Slay at 6. I had Sauce Gardner at 5. I had Jalen Ramsey at 4. I had Marlon Humphrey at 3. I had Jair Alexander at 2. And I had Patrick Surtain the second at 1.
It's the same top 3, just a little bit different order.
Yeah,
But then
you
it
had
was-
Jair and Surtain flip-flopped with me.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got off the rails.
Right.
So from a consensus standpoint, it's Surtain, Alexander, Humphrey in that order. And then it is Jalen Ramsey 4th, Lattimore and Slay tied for 5th, Trayvon Diggs and Sauce Gardner tied for 7th, Denzel Ward at 9th, and then we had a tie at 10th with L'Jarius Sneed and Asante Samuel Jr.
Interesting.
Anything you want to ask questions on that? I know obviously we're getting close to the end here, but anything that really pops as a surprise for you?
I just think corner is one of those positions where every year it just looks different. Where guys are. I mean, that's why for so long it was like, who's the best corner? It's like, oh, it's Xavier Rhodes. Oh, it's Patrick Peterson. Oh, it's whoever else.
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore. Right. Yeah.
Like Juan Depoy and
right. I don't sweat it over corners, although they do. They had to have a big meeting, a big public meeting for the world to hear. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, and it's
cats, man.
Who's been getting it's Revis has been getting into it with
Asante Samuel.
What
are we doing here? What is happening? Weirdos, man. Corners and receivers are just different types of dudes, man.
Built a very certain kind of way.
They are. They just are.
Okay. Now we had our last position is safeties, and we have 13 cornerstones, which means somebody's going to get left off here. And you feel some type of way about it because we did our lists in the pre-show without comparing notes, and you audibly groaned twice doing safeties.
I got through the first 8, and then I realized that I had to leave 3 of the next 5 off, and I just had a hard time.
Yeah. It's a very good group. The group of players that we have is Javon Holland, in no specific order right now. Javon Holland, Micah Hyde, Kevin Byard, Justin Simmons, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Quandre Diggs, Marcus Williams, Antoine Winfield Jr., Jordan Poyer, Talanoa Hufanga, Budda Baker, Harrison Smith, Derwin James.
You get to go first.
I get to go first, and I'm going to say it with my chest. Derwin James at 1. For a position that is a multi-tool position to have the level of versatility that Derwin James has, boom, full send. I'm in all the way. Justin Simmons at 2. I have Kevin Byard at 3. I have Minkah Fitzpatrick at 4. I think the tackling for the top 3 is probably the tiebreaker with Minkah. Obviously, very great player in coverage and cerebral player. Obviously, everybody's going to make jokes about me just having it for because he used to play for the Dolphins and forced to trade. But
you did it for me. I don't have to.
I do think from a physicality perspective, that is the divide for me. At 5, I am not going to make the same mistake that Jeremy Fowler did. Quandre Diggs is 5 for me.
Ooh, okay.
I have Javon Holland at 6. I have Budda Baker at 7. I have Micah Hyde at 8. I have Talanoa Hufanga at number 9. And I have Harrison Smith at number 10. I think he can still go quite a bit, which means Marcus Williams. And Marcus is on Baltimore, right?
Yes.
Let's get the sheet correct here. Brain fart. Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jordan Poyer were my also ranked.
Man, these are really different. These
Lord.
are really different.
We might have to do a show on safeties then.
Saved it for the end. Okay. Let's start at the top. Number 1, I have Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, Lord.
Number 2, I have Derwin James.
Okay.
Number 3, I have Justin Simmons.
We're okay so far.
It's going to come off the rails quick.
I know it is.
4 is Kevin Byard.
Well, no, we had the same 4 players in the top 4, just in different order.
Yeah, but like when your 1 and 4 are different, I think that's kind of a big deal.
Kind of like edge group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Buckle up, baby. Number 5, Jordan Poyer. Number 6, Javon Holland. Number 7, Antoine Winfield Jr. Number 8, Quandre Diggs. Number 9, Budda Baker. And number 10, Marcus Williams. So Hyde, Hufanga,
You know what?
and Smith don't make mine.
No. I'm going to make the executives audible on the fly. I'm going to put Marcus Williams over Harrison Smith. There's more longevity there. I think Marcus Williams will sustain his level of play this season, where you can question Harrison Smith. So you talked me out of kicking Harrison Smith off the list.
Didn't even mean to do that, but I did, I guess.
Okay. Now we get to sort these. Why'd you leave Micah Hyde off?
Just because he was injured last year. He only played in 1.5 games.
Okay. If they're both fully healthy, who do you think's the better player?
I don't know.
No, that's not what I asked.
The more versatile player is Poyer.
Right.
The better coverage player is Hyde. I don't know.
We're going to do an episode of Locked On Bills and debate that. That's fine. Our consensus rankings, Derwin James is 1, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Justin Simmons are tied for 2nd. You have Kevin Byard in 4th place, Javon Holland in 5th place, Quandre Diggs in 6th place, Jordan Poyer and Budda Baker are tied for 7th. Is that right? Draft dudes do math. Tied for 7th. Yeah. Antoine Winfield Jr. in 9th, Micah Hyde in 10th, Marcus Williams, Talanoa Hufanga, Harrison Smith, the 3 that got left off, and I feel some kind of way.
Who's the guy that is? Who do you not want on there, or who are you feeling some type of way that didn't make it? That
I mean, I had Hufanga at 9.
It's long. It just I leaned into
It's
guys that had more.
It's a sample size thing.
That's all. Yeah.
Joe is ageist.
I'm always going to lean towards the guy that had done it for longer, man.
That's fair. That is our top 10 players at each position on the defensive side of the football. Your favorite development was what, Joe?
I'll go with the recency bias in that I had Poyer at 5 and you had Hyde at 8, but no Poyer, and then I had no Hyde. Like, I think that's fun.
Yeah. Favorite development from the entire thing?
I think so, just because it's what stands out to me right now. What do you have?
The fact that we both appreciate the works of art that are Quandre Diggs, Kenny Moore, Demario Davis. I'm just kind of scrolling.
Yeah, Demario Davis is a good one. I think most people will be surprised that we both had him like in the top 3.
Well, you just watch the tape.
I have for many years now.
Listen, that's going to do it for us here today on this episode of Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes. We hope you appreciated this exercise. We will be doing the offensive side of the ball as well in the near future, but we have one more show this week, so plan accordingly. Come on back and see us. I'm Kyle Crabbs. He's Joe Marino. Find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Make it a great rest of your day. Peace.